What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the North Shore 9 post-game show powered by Primanti Brothers. I'm Jim. With me today is Dougie Fresh. Doug, how are we doing tonight?
Annoyed. I'm irritated.
Yeah, it was a frustrating game. For a while there, it was you felt like this one was over, and I was just trying to get the game over with. But then it got interesting and then annoying again. So Pirates drop one to the Cleveland Guardians, first game of the series, 10-7. 10-7. Lots of scoring, especially late in this game. There were 10 runs total scored between these two teams from the 7th inning on. We'll talk about Carmen Mlodzinski, kind of the same old deal with him. Same old deal with the offense, kind of just going quiet for a really, really long time. So there's quite a bit to get to today. So we'll get to that. Before I do, though, let me tell you guys about Bet Online. It is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing, and we're into the home stretch for NBA and NHL playoffs. Has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NHL, and UFC, BetOnline remains the number one online source for all your sports wagering info. And between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, Doug. I kind of want to just start off with Oneil Cruz first. And then we'll kind of talk about Carmen Mlodzinski and the bullpen. And like I said, there was a late rally here. The Pirates didn't give up. You got to give them a little bit of credit there, I guess. But they fell short. Just too many wrong things happened today. But let's start with Oneil Cruz. Second game in a row, leading off with a home run. He becomes the second player ever in modern history since 1900 to hit a grand slam and 2 leadoff homers in a 3-game span. There you go. Interesting little factoid there. And it just kind of goes to show you that he's been, I think this leadoff spot's a good position for him. He seems to be comfortable there.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot. He can obviously steal bases. He's getting on base, puts Bryan Reynolds behind him. Reynolds was, decent tonight, 3 out of 5. I mean, he's been struggling, obviously. He always does this time of year, but he is the best hitter in our lineup to protect somebody. I mean, it's not like there's somebody else that's going to give better protection than Reynolds does. Pitchers still respect Reynolds. The other team does, So I think it's a great spot for Oneil Cruz. Again, this team, yeah, we need dynamic. We need athletic. We need spark. That sort of thing. These are all things that Oneil Cruz can provide. It seems to be kind of paying off a little. My goodness, what is he on pace for about 40 home runs and 60, 70 stolen bases?
Right around there, yeah.
It looks great. It's early. It's a small sample size. It's only April. Let me throw all the disclaimers out there. But he looks good. There's still a lot of refinement left to his game, but I have no issue with him batting leadoff, the rest of the season, and then trying to sort it out from there.
Yeah, so he leads off the game with a homer, 1-0 Pirates, but then Cleveland scores 2 runs in the third. Pirates tie it back up in the third with a Joey Bart single. Then things kind of start unraveling. Carmen Mlodzinski gives up 2 runs in the fourth on a Bo Naylor double. Oneil Cruz didn't really take the best route to that ball either. I think ultimately those 2 runs still would have scored, but it's 4-2. Cleveland adds on another run in the fifth. They add on 5 more in the seventh, and by that time it's 10-2. And you're like, this game's over. Then the Pirates do kind of scratch and claw. Bryan Reynolds homers in the 7th, and Enmanuel Valdez homers in the 7th. And then in the 9th, the Pirates get 2 more runs. They get it to 10-7. But then Jack Suwinski strikes out for what seemed like the 8th or 9th time in today's game to end it. So 10-7 is your final. But I want to let's dive into Carmen Mlodzinski first. Coming into today, Doug, 0 ERA against the first time through the order heading into today. After that,
hasn't given up a run in the first 2 innings.
Yeah, after that,
outings. Yeah,
not so much. Yeah, first and second inning looked good. Third inning, things fall apart. He gave up, I think, 5 or 6 hits that second time through the lineup. This is just, it's becoming a theme now with him where like he looks really good the first time through. And then once you see him a second or third time, teams are getting to him. He's failed to go past the 5th inning in any of his starts. He gets knocked out today after 4+ innings. I'm not entirely sure why Derek Shelton put him out there to start the 5th to begin with. He goes in there to face Jose Ramirez, gives up a 109-mile-per-hour double, and then he gets yanked. But by that point, you just put on the 5th run. It sucks because I feel like he's a good relief pitcher, Doug. It's just, I think the starting pitcher experiment needs to be over.
Yeah, I agree. After his last start, Donardo and I did this post game, and we said,
Same story. Yeah.
But let's give him another, couple starts just to see. He did have that one decent start. I was wrong. I'm done with that. And the way this game went was, okay, Mlodzinski can't get, he can't get through the lineup that second time. And then you bring in Kyle Nicolas and he's not ready. And there seems to be a simple solution here. Put Mlodzinski in the bullpen, send Nicolas back to AAA, and bring up one of those young starters. It just seems so easy with what to do. But we don't do the easy thing here in Pittsburgh, So yeah, he just, like once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a trend. Now he's had 4 starts. One of them, he got through 5 innings. It was pretty impressive. The other 3 have been bad. This team is not a very good team when it gets great pitching. This team doesn't stand a chance when it doesn't get good pitching. And we saw that, a team scored 7 runs and still couldn't win. And that is not the formula for the 2025 Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah, when this
looks
offense,
like a really good bullpen arm, man. Yeah, but it sounds like he can give you 2 innings anytime, right? What a great weapon to have in your bullpen.
No, I'm with you, Doug. Like he has shown throughout this season, like I think he would be a really good relief pitcher and can get you valuable outs in that bullpen. It's just whenever you want to stretch him out to 3, 4, 5 innings, it's not working. He's got a 7.41 ERA right now. And I don't care how good you look the first time through the lineup. Like you can't have a 7.41 earned run average.
Right.
Can't do it.
And 2 good innings isn't enough when you're pitching 5, right?
And like you mentioned, like this is a trend now. Like this isn't just a 1-time thing, 2-time thing. This is now multiple times we've seen that he can't get through the length of a lineup. I think I'm okay with him like still being like an opener. Like if you want to go this route and you don't want to bring up one of those 4 major league ready starters that are in AAA, then just say, you know what, Carmen, you got the first 9 batters today. Joey Wentz, you've got the next 9. You 2 get us through 18 batters, and then we'll hand it over to everybody else. Right. I'm okay if they want to do that, but like what they're doing right now, like this isn't working.
No, you're right. It's not working at all. And didn't we say this in spring training? Right? I mean, didn't we said this in spring? We knew it. Again, I keep saying, show after show after show, we're not as smart as Ben Cherington, but we said this team couldn't hit, and look, they can't hit. We said that Carmen, the idea of Carmen Mlodzinski as a starter was, and I remember saying a couple of times, well, they'll let him be a starter. He'll be an opener. And no, then, they get an injury. I still don't think Mlodzinski was the way I would have went to replace Jared Jones, but whatever they did. The kid asked to be a starter. I didn't know, how nice they are. I guess it's little league. Everybody gets an orange slice. So they let him start, and he's proven that he's not a starter. I mean, he proved that in the minors, quite frankly. You've talked about seeing him pitch live in the minors and said no, he doesn't have a starter's repertoire. He doesn't have it. So it's what gets frustrating about this team. It's like we saw this, I wouldn't say we're casual fans, but I mean, we're just fans, and we, to a person, we didn't have a debate about this. We all agreed Carmen Mlodzinski is not a major league starter. Would have loved to have been wrong. Would have loved that. I mean, even if a guy that just gave you 5 innings, if he was the poor man's Blake Snell,
Yep.
but he's not a starter. So let's not keep. We're not good enough to give games away.
No, no.
We're not on pace for 105 wins, and it's like, hey, let's try this out for another couple. No, solve it now. Like you said, the solution is right there. Let him go two. Let maybe if he flies to the two, let him go a third inning. But that's it. That's it. We've seen what happens. And they were saying, oh, Shelton's going to be aggressive with his bullpen. Like, let's not waste bullpen. We need our bullpen. We need fresh arms. We can't just be burning them. Filling in for a guy that we know can't get through, the fourth or fifth inning.
Yeah. 0 runs given up on the year in the first 2 innings, 14 given up in the third, fourth, and fifth innings. Yeah, I mean, I'm done with the experiment. You tried it, cool, whatever. Now move on. Like, there's no reason to continue doing this. It's not working. And you've
Absolutely.
got 4 guys in AAA that you can pick from. And I mean, Thomas Harrington, Braxton Ashcraft, Bubba Chandler, Mike Burrows. Pick one. I don't care. They're at least starting pitchers.
Right,
they've
right,
started
right.
games past AA.
Exactly.
So pick one, send Nicolas down, who we'll get to Nicolas today, and move Mlodzinski to the bullpen. It's just going to make your bullpen that much better. And if your bullpen's that much better, then maybe what happened today doesn't end up happening. Maybe the Pirates are only down 5-2 instead of 10-2, and we're talking about an incredible come from behind victory because this team didn't give up. Instead, we're talking about a 10-7 loss because your number 8 guy in the bullpen came in after your non-starter 5th starter just gave up 5 runs, and the 2 of them give up 10 runs throughout this game. So let's talk about Nicolas, I guess. Joey Wentz, I thought did an excellent job cleaning up Mlodzinski's mess in the 5th. He goes the 5th and the 6th. Pitches 2 scoreless innings. He's been outstanding this year. His ERA is down to 0.77. Like, just an incredible job by Joey Wentz so far. But then you bring Kyle Nicolas in. It's a 5-2 ball game at this point, and he just doesn't have it. Have it. He walks 2 batters. He gives up 3 hits, hard hits, extra base hits, gives up a double to Jhonkensy Noel, gives up a double to Gabriel Arias.
Noel was hitting 163 with an OPS of like 368 when he rocked that double.
And
this wasn't all Jose Ramirez and Naylor.
And this game got out of hand quickly. Like, I mean, it was 10 minutes, and Kyle Nicolas took this game from a 5-2 deficit to a 10-2 deficit, basically in the blink of an eye. And you see the reasons why he started in AAA, and it's the same reasons why he probably should still be there now. It's just he's not consistent enough around the zone to be effective right now. The stuff is nasty, but he just can't locate it.
Can't locate. He falls behind, and he's they were talking on the broadcast when he falls behind, the OPS against him's like 8 million. I mean, he's just terrible in those circumstances, and he fell behind every batter he faced except one, I think. If you're not throwing first pitch strikes, again, as a reliever, things get ugly quickly, and that's what happened with Nicolas. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the stuff's just nasty, but you got to have some control, and he just doesn't seem to be able to locate his stuff. And he should be in AAA until he figures out how to.
He's had 3 appearances since being called up. He's walked a batter in every single appearance. He's got 4 walks in an inning and 2/3. That's the other thing. He's only gotten 5 outs in those three appearances. 5 hits, 6 runs given up, all earned. Just a pretty dreadful start to his call up. Yeah, I think the answer here is just you move Mlodzinski into the pen. That strengthens that group even more, and it's been a good group. Like, because outside Nicolas, the bullpen was great today.
Right.
You move Mlodzinski to the bullpen, you strengthen that group even more, and then you bring up an actual starting pitcher, and you can pick one. Like, I think Bubba Chandler's the best of the bunch. Obviously, I can also understand why the team still wants to give him a little bit more time there. I don't think we're really dealing with service time manipulation at this point in time. Like, he still hasn't made a lot of AAA starts.
I think he's got 10 innings in, right?
Yeah, I can buy that. Like, he still has some things to work on, but like, Harrington is a major league ready starter. Ashcraft is a major league ready starter. Burrows is a major league ready starter. They've spent enough time there, and are polished enough that they can come up here and at least do the job. I think you saw Harrington have 1 start this year. It wasn't very good, but again, like, we've seen enough of Harrington that I think we're comfortable giving the ball to him every 5th day if we need to. Whereas I'm not in that position with Mlodzinski.
And these are all guys that this organization has decided are starters. Right. They decided that Mlodzinski was a reliever 2 years ago and moved him from starter to reliever. And that fast tracked him right into Pittsburgh, where he's been very effective. So again, you decided this. Now, I know Mlodzinski's asked, but I'd ask to hit leadoff and play center field, but I hope they tell me no. He wants to do it. That's admirable. That's where he probably thinks the big money is, and maybe that's where he thinks he's best suited. But clearly, he's not. So yeah, and again, like you said, you solve 2 problems. This is such a simple thing. You solve 2 problems with this, and you make a bullpen that's been very good even better. And again, we've got to figure out what these young starters can do anyway, right? There's some decisions that'll need to be made about who's going to be, some people will be traded, all that stuff. So let's see, right? Bring up Burrows. You're right. It doesn't have to be Bubba Chandler. I'm not as certain about you that it's not service time manipulation, but like I said, I think he's only pitched 10, 11, innings this year. I have no problem if he goes 2 or 3 more starts. And if he continues doing this, then you say, okay, Bubba, it's your chance. But you're right. Harrington, I feel comfortable with seeing him, or at least would prefer to see him. I don't know, and I'm curious about both Burrows and Ashcraft. So again, you could have Carmen start, pitch 2 or 3 innings, and then bring in one of those guys. It does whatever you want to do. I don't care, but let's say this all the time. This team is frequently, constantly, consistently putting people in position to fail. We're playing first baseman at second baseman and catchers at first base and all this sort of stuff. We're putting a reliever as a starter and not using, the most effective starter possible. So yeah, it's time to move on. This experiment should be over.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk about the offense. I mean, they were going up against Luis Ortiz today. Luis Ortiz revenge game. And I thought the Pirates did a good job against him early on, made him throw a lot of pitches. You would have hoped for maybe some more runs early on, because like that, they did make Ortiz throw a lot of pitches. They scored those 2 runs off of him in the first 3 innings, and then Ortiz settled in, had a good 4th and 5th inning. But he goes 5 innings, gives up the 2 runs. I think he struck out 8 batters today. So, all in all, a pretty good start for Luis Ortiz. You gotta, that sucks always whenever you trade a guy away and he comes and he pitches and gets the win against you. But when it came to after that, the Pirates fought back. You got to give him credit. Yeah. I want to talk about Bryan Reynolds. Like, Bryan Reynolds is a guy who I think maybe not. People aren't being as critical of him as they should be. I don't know if it's because of the injury or what, but he's had a really bad start to this year. And this offense is probably in a much different spot if Bryan Reynolds is sitting around an 800 OPS as opposed to, the 700 OPS that he was kind of sitting in before. It's now, let's see, after today, my math is
680.
a little rough. Yeah,
His OPS is at
680.
680 after a
So
free
it's
hit game.
getting,
Right?
yeah. So it's like he's like clawing his way back to league average. But again, 3-hit game today. He hits the opposite field homer over the Clemente wall. Hopefully this is just a sign of him starting to get things put together. Because right now, up to this point, Oneil Cruz has really been your only impact bat in this lineup.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that like Bart and McCutchen have been pretty solidly effective as good complementary pieces, but like they need another guy to kind of count on, and Reynolds is gonna probably have to be that guy, and he hasn't been up to this point. But it was a good game for him.
It's part of why they couldn't get to Luis Ortiz tonight. They had him on the ropes a little. In the first inning, I think he threw 27 pitches.
Yep.
But you get to a point in our lineup where it's a Triolo Suwinski Frazier or Suwinski Triolo Frazier, and boom, you can settle down, you can relax, you can miss a little because it's easy out, easy out, easy out, and we can't expect these other guys to get hits in every single at bat. So we don't put pressure on a pitcher. Like I said, we have him on the ropes a little, but then it was like, okay, no worries now. Once you got by Bart in this lineup today, and I mean, Valdez had a nice day, I suppose, but
yeah, I wanted to bring him up. He's someone who, going into today, I feel like the numbers haven't been great for Valdez. He's been, roughly 20% below league average. But he's been like one of the bats in the lineup where like you watch him and he at least seems competent up there.
yeah.
Like he hasn't looked completely overmatched at the plate. But today, 2 for 4, he gets his first homer, 3 runs batted in. He gets a walk. His OPS now, Doug, after today,
Third highest on the team.
769. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, Enmanuel Valdez after today is 15% better than league average. He's essentially the second or third best hitter for you now. It's refreshing because I think defensively he's still very much not good out there. But offensively, if you were hoping for somebody to kind of fill in the gap for a few weeks, especially at first base with Horwitz out, he's been just fine. And today was a good game from him.
Yeah. Yeah. The minor league report on him was that good bat, not much of, not great in the field. And we've only seen that part mostly, but yeah, he doesn't look helpless up there. Right. He does look like he knows what he's doing. The league batting average now is like 236. So, our numbers are terrible and we're, below that and all, but Valdez is now 233 and like I said, his OPS is up there. Again, early, one game makes a big swing and that sort of thing. I love how they're touting our runners in scoring position numbers, and that was all off of one game.
Yep.
But again, I would prefer to see somebody else other than Valdez, but we don't have anybody on this roster to take that. He would have to come from somewhere else. And I said keep putting him out there. I'd prefer seeing him than again. Again, he's in the smack dab in the middle. He's a 3, 4, 5 type guy in our
on
lineup.
this team. But I think that's the thing. Like, I'm not touting Enmanuel Valdez as this great hitter, but when you're a team of incompetent hitters like this club has, like Valdez is one of your top 4 bats right now.
Right.
Top 5 at least. And that's an indictment on this
Damning
lineup.
him with faint praise, right?
We're talking about a team that's terrible offensively.
But he's better than Pham, Triolo, Suwinski, Frazier.
Exactly. Like at this point,
and that's all we're really saying here, right?
At this point, Valdez has to be playing every day because he seems to be heads and shoulders above Suwinski, Triolo, Frazier.
Right.
Speaking of Suwinski, 0 for 5, 4 strikeouts. He's slugging 162. He's striking out basically half the time. I know you talked about him a little bit earlier this week too, but like you can't it doesn't matter how unlucky you are. Like I've seen some stats being posted this week about how his ex WOBA is so much higher than his WOBA. Well, it's like, you know what? That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're striking out 44% of the time. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
how unlucky you are when you put the ball in play, when you never put the ball in play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame, right? He seems like a really hard worker. He seems like a really good kid. He seems like a really good teammate. He can't hit, right? And he should not be here until he goes to AAA and is hitting 370. You know what I'm saying? Until he's crushing the ball, striking out
Yeah.
less than 15% of the time. Again, he's just in a position to fail, and that was magnified in the bottom of the ninth when, oh great. I mean, I thought they should have pinch hit Henry, somebody, anything, but they shouldn't have let him come to bat there. I mean, we knew the outcome of that, and
Suwinski versus Clase. Yeah, I think we all kind of knew what was happening there.
right. It's not fair. I mean, that's not fair.
But I'm with you.
Yeah.
And again, this just kind of goes back to the offseason. Like, we knew that outfield was a problem. Jack Suwinski was coming off a dreadful 2024. And like Suwinski looked good in spring training, but it's not like Suwinski was like beaten down the door.
But he wasn't killing it, right?
Right. But it was like he was comfortable. He comfortably made this team in after spring training.
Right.
And it's like now you're seeing just what we saw in 2024 is just carrying over now to this year. And it's even worse. He's striking out even more than he was last year. The power is not there at all. There's no home runs. There's hardly any extra base hits. The defense is still, it's a little bit better than it was, but like he's not providing any value at all.
And this brings me right back to Gorski. At least Gorski is a better fielder and a better base runner. I don't think he necessarily hit any better. I don't think he did any worse. I mean, is Matt Gorski going to come here and have 4 strikeouts and a flyout? And I mean, yeah, chances are. And again, one of those things we talked about all offseason. I mean, we went on and on and on about Tyler O'Neill and Michael Conforto and Austin Hayes. I mean, anybody. Right. We just wanted anybody, and we got left with this. And
well, they got rid of Connor Joe because you were like, okay, it's time to go get somebody better than Connor Joe. And
right.
This team is full of players worse than Connor Joe now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. And right, I mean, I don't understand it. I don't understand why it's still going on. I don't understand, again, Billy Cook. I know I always bring up Gorski, but Billy Cook, again,
Cook's hot right now.
And he's a good defensive outfielder, and he can run the bases, and he can also play first base. And yeah, that just seems, again, for as much as they love, versatility, flexibility, that seems like a better option. But they just won't make these moves. It just seemed, I mean, again, you're doing Jack Suwinski a disservice at this time, right? He's not getting better. He's not building his confidence. Andy Haynes couldn't help him. Matt Haig doesn't seem to be able to help him. I don't think the ghost of Ted Williams possessing his body is going to help him at this point. The kid can't make contact.
Yeah, we need the ghost of Ted Williams.
Yeah,
let's bring him back. It's time to unfreeze him.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the 9th inning too before we head out of here. IKF leads off with a double. Oneil Cruz with a walk. Bryan Reynolds RBI single. Valdez another big hit with the double. But I do want to talk about this. So Enmanuel Valdez doubles into the left field corner. Bounces off the wall right to Stephen Kwan. Stephen Kwan makes a hell of a throw to third base to gun Bryan Reynolds. What are your thoughts there in that situation? At that point, you just scored your 7th run. You're down 10-7. There's 1 out in the 9th. There's 2 runners on base. You've got the middle of your lineup coming up. That would have brought up Bart, Suwinski, Triolo, right? That's your middle of the lineup. But let's talk about that because Reynolds goes to third. It took a perfect throw to get him,
right?
But this is a situation in the ball game where like you cannot get out on the base paths.
Right. Well, and that's been a Pirate issue. The first thing that leaped to mind for me was See what happens when you have good defensive players? You see what a difference that makes? That may have turned the whole game around. That may have saved the game. Who knows what would have happened with, the hitters that we had coming up. But that guy makes a great defensive. There's not a guy on our team that makes that play. Not going to happen. And that it just, and I say this all the time. I know I'm redundant, but we're a team supposedly built on pitching, and then we get bad defensive players and play them out of position. I mean, it makes no sense. But you're right. I mean, that's a tough call because, like I said, it took a perfect play from a
It
Gold
did.
Glove, a 3-time,
Yeah.
Gold Glove winning player. But you can't get thrown out on the bases. That seems like a little caution there, right?
So when I
And
first saw the
Reynolds
play,
was looking at the play.
yeah. So when I first saw it, I was like, that's a hell of a play. I don't really think there's anything you can do there. Like, I'm okay going from first to third on a ball off the wall, but then you kind of like when they showed like the all 9 replay where you can see the entire field, Bryan Reynolds did not read that very well, in that like he didn't get far enough off first base with his secondary lead before he realized that ball was going to bounce. And I think like that's a mistake. That was a base running mistake on his part, where he just didn't go off the bat. I mean, that ball's in the left field corner. Like he can be standing on second base, and if it's caught, he can get right back to first. Not an issue. He wasn't there. He was about 2/3 of the way to second base when that ball finally hit, and he kind of realized, oh shit, I need to go. He's got, it's a mistake on his part. Like, that was a base running blunder on his part. Now, it took a perfect throw, but like you said, by a Gold Glove winning left fielder. But it was a Gold Glove winning left fielder who made a perfect throw. And if you're doing your base running correctly on that, it's a non-issue. That was kind of my read on it.
I mean, it's in-game awareness, right? You didn't run on Roberto Clemente because you knew he was going to throw you out. You didn't run on Andy Van Slyke because you knew he was going to throw you out. That's Stephen Kwan over there. You know he's going to make the right play. And if you haven't gotten, like you said, you didn't get the appropriate lead, you weren't where you were supposed to be, stay at second and see if Joey Bart can do something, right? Because that's your best chance at that point. You've sort of, I don't want to say you've got Clase on the ropes, but things are interesting at this point, and you just ran yourself right out of that inning. And this team again cannot afford to give the other team outs. Can't do it. So
yeah, and you can feel free to disagree on that one. I when I first saw it, I was basically just like, that's a hell of a play. And yeah, they barely got him. But if Bryan Reynolds is 2 steps closer to second base when he should have been, that they don't get him.
Yeah,
it's second and third, and there's one out, and you get to go. So that was just kind of I just wanted to point that out. That's all I got here today, Doug. Again, bullpen outside Nicolas was great. Wentz 2 scoreless. Meza an inning and 2/3 scoreless. Justin Lawrence continues to look unreal out of that bullpen. 1-2-3 ninth inning with 2 strikeouts. It was just Mlodzinski being overextended and Kyle Nicolas just falling apart. I mean, you score 7 runs, you think you should win the game, and they fell short today.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
I mean,
because
that's exactly
you don't get this type of offense often from this team.
No,
and when you do, you think you need to win these games.
Right, you really expect, with the way we've been pitching, you really expect if this team scores 7 runs that we're going to win that somewhat handily, honestly, right? I mean, if we can get 6 innings out of a starter, our bullpen has been getting us comfortably, the rest of the way. And it's a shame that again, we're asking a guy to do something he can't do, and has shown you that he can't do. So,
yep. All right, guys. Appreciate all of you sticking around. That was a long game, a lot of runs being scored. So chat, you guys were awesome. If you're watching or listening after the fact, leave a review, like the video, subscribe if you haven't yet. But again, Pirates lose 10-7 to start this 3-game series against the Cleveland Guardians this weekend. 4:05 game tomorrow. It's Paul Skeens bobblehead day. Paul Skeens on the mound against Ben Lively. you hope that the Pirates can at least even up this series with that one, and then, take it to a rubber match on Sunday. But we'll be back tomorrow with another post-game show, hopefully giving away some sandwiches with a win. But yeah, like the video, subscribe, all of the stuff. Doug, you got any parting words for everybody?
Just thanks for staying with us. It's tough. This is a tough follow. Sometimes at the end of these, I don't want to talk about them. I'm disgusted too. So appreciate you saying the chat has been great. You guys have been great all year. And hopefully tomorrow, tomorrow we can give out some sandwiches. We got Paul Skeens. There's something great about this team every 5 or 6 days. So we got that going for us.
Elliot wants sandwiches, but we got to win. We got to win for the sandwiches, guys. So hopefully tomorrow. All right, guys. We're out. 10-7 loss. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.